Okay, you know the sound. You're just driving along, everything's fine, and then, bam, a rock kicks up from the truck in front of you and leaves that perfect, awful little starburst right in your line of sight. It's that stomach-dropping moment every single driver dreads. So, let's get into it and figure out what that little disaster is really going to set you back.
So you're sitting there staring at that crack, and of course the big question pops into your head. What is the real cost here? And you might think it's a pretty straightforward answer, right? But as you're about to find out, there is a whole lot more going on than just swapping out a piece of glass.
All right, let's get right to the numbers you're probably looking for. Generally speaking, a full windshield replacement is going to run you anywhere from about $200 to $600. Sometimes, honestly, even more. Now, that is a huge gap, isn't it? So our whole goal here is to figure out why that range is so big and what exactly pushes your bill to the low end or all the way to the high end.
Okay, first up, let's decode that final price tag. You know, it's not just some random number that an auto glass shop pulls out of thin air. There are actually several key things that all come together to determine what you're going to pay.
And here they are. These are basically the four main players that are going to decide your final bill. What kind of car you drive, the hidden tech inside your windshield that you might not even know you have, the type of glass you decide to go with, and of course, your insurance coverage. Let's break them all down.
So first up, the car itself. And this probably won't come as a huge shock, but the windshield for, say, a high-end European car is a lot more specialized and, yep, a lot more expensive than one for your standard family sedan. We're talking totally different curves, unique sizes, and sometimes completely different ways they have to be mounted.
Now, let's talk about what might be the single most surprising factor in all of this. See, your windshield, it's not just a simple barrier against the wind anymore. In most new cars, it's actually an active, working piece of your vehicle's safety technology. Have you ever heard of ADAS? It stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. This is all the cool tech behind features like your lane departure warnings or the automatic emergency braking that kicks in by itself. And where do you think the cameras and sensors for all those systems are mounted? You guessed it, right on the windshield. And here's the kicker. If your car was made any time after 2018, it almost certainly has this technology built in. So after a new windshield goes in, those ADS systems have to be recalibrated. And I want to be really clear. This isn't some optional add-on. It is an absolutely critical safety step to make sure those features are aimed correctly and can actually protect you when you need them most.
Okay, so we've covered the high-tech stuff. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical questions that pretty much every car owner has, like how does insurance play into this? What kind of glass should you get? And how long is this whole thing going to take?
This is the big one, isn't it? It's the fear we all have. If I call my insurance company for a little crack, are my rates going to skyrocket next year?
Well, you can breathe a sigh of relief because the answer is typically no. Insurance companies usually see damage from road debris as a no-fault claim that falls under your comprehensive coverage. It's not like a fender bender that was your fault, so it usually doesn't affect your rates. Next up, you're going to have a choice to make about the glass itself. You've got OEM glass, which comes straight from your car's manufacturer, so you know it's a perfect factory-spec match. Then there's aftermarket glass, which is made by a different company. It might be cheaper, but you have to be careful. Even a tiny variation in the shape or fit can cause weird visual distortions, or even worse, it could mess with how those critical ADAS safety features work.
So, how long are you going to be without your car? Well, a standard installation is actually pretty fast, usually about 60 to 90 minutes, plus a little time for the adhesive to set. But remember that ADAS tech we talked about, that all-important recalibration step is going to add another 30 to 60 minutes to your total time.
And all of this brings us to our final, and honestly, the most important section of all. When you understand everything that goes into it, it becomes crystal clear why trying to cut corners on a windshield replacement is just a really bad idea. This is all about your safety. I want you to really let this sink in for a second. A properly installed windshield isn't just a window to look through, it provides up to 60% of your vehicle's roof strength if you get into a rollover accident. Think about that. It's a massive part of your car's structural safety cage. So, when you pay for a professional installation, you're not just buying a piece of glass. You are buying the guarantee that federal safety standards are being met. You're ensuring your airbags will work correctly. You're preventing dangerous visual distortion while you drive. And on top of all that, you usually get a warranty, which is just good peace of mind. Which really just leaves us with this one final thought. We started this whole thing by talking about cost, but we ended up talking about structural integrity, advanced safety systems, and your personal safety. So the real question isn't just about the price tag, it's about whether saving a few bucks today is worth risking a feature so absolutely critical to keeping you safe on the road.